We're here with Jeff Smith at San Diego Comic-Con. Thanks a lot for meeting with us.
Sure, no problem.
This is a big year for Bone, 20 years.
20 years, unbelievable. 1991 in July, so 20 years ago this month, the first issue of Bone hit the stands.
It's hard to believe. I mean, I remember when it came out, it was sort of one of those blink and you miss it because there were, what, like 2,000 printed or something like that?
Yeah, that's all. It was a very small print run. You know, it was a kind of an underground self-published comic book. Just did it out of our garage. So, yeah, I think a lot of people miss like the first, 8 issues for sure. First couple of years were pretty slow.
So to celebrate, though, you've got a deluxe 20th anniversary edition. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, originally Bone was done as a little black and white comic book, as we were just saying. But eventually, each comic book was a chapter in a like a 1,400-page novel with a beginning and a middle and an end. So now we have since, republished them all in color with Scholastic. However, only in like 9 separate volumes. So for the first time, we've taken all the color pages of Bone, the complete color story, and put it in one volume. And and we did a really special edition. Can we show it here?
We can show it.
Yeah. Here it is. This is it right here. And so here's the book. It's in color. You can see I'll just open it up randomly. And it just comes with a lot of stuff. Here's a little miniature version of Bone #1 that came out 20 years ago. And lots of other little goodies and doodads that are fun, including a documentary DVD and stuff. So, all right. Sorry.
No?
Sorry, I'm moving around. You okay, camera guy? Thor?
So when you were envisioning Bone, I mean, this is going to sound kind of a crazy question, but were you envisioning it in color when you were creating it? Because it came out in black and white, and I understand self-publishing that there is that, economic thing you got to deal with, but were you envisioning it in color as you were creating it, or was it the kind of thing where after you'd created it and you had the opportunity with Scholastic to come back in color, then you thought about it?
No, I thought the end product would be black and white. Mm-hmm. I thought I had a crazy idea that maybe someday when it was done, I could hire an animation artist to color the whole thing, and we might have a big coffee table book that was in color. But that seemed like such a pipe dream, and in fact, it's pretty much what we did. So I'm happy. Although I didn't start out with that idea. No.
Now, your current work, RASL, is in black and white, and it is a real departure, if you will, story-wise from Bone. Tell us a little bit about RASL.
Well, RASL came about because I'm kind of like an armchair physicist. I really enjoy quantum physics and stuff like that, and reading about string theory and M theory. And one of the things scientists think is going on that we can't see are parallel universes. So that part of the science fiction in my story is real. It's about an interdimensional art thief. He'll go into another dimension, steal a Picasso, come back here and fence it in Vegas is basically the idea. And then we kind of find out that he's just kind of a rough, hard-boiled kind of a character, and his backstory comes out, and it's, of course, a Save the Universe mystery thriller type of a thing.
Now, Volume 3 just came out, and that one was, we read it last night, that one was a real trip. Visually, RASL has been a real treat, and the collected editions are coming out in larger than your standard comic book format. The visuals in Volume 3 are spectacular as sort of these parallel worlds start to, unfold a bit.
Yeah. Well, I'm having a lot of fun. It's going to be a 4-book series of those big sizes. So hopefully next year in San Diego we'll have the 4th and final volume and end the story. But yeah, visually it's very different for me because it's noir, so there's a lot of blacks and angles, and but I wanted to also do something different since noir kind of comes from film. I wanted to adapt that cinematic language of landscape panels. So a lot of the panels in RASL are, go all the way across the page. And so, it was just an experiment. I wanted to try something different, and I'm having a lot of fun.
And in the back of Volume 3, there's some sort of notes and pictures and sketches, and you actually went out to the desert for a few days and just sort of sat for a while.
Yeah, I went out for 2 weeks into the desert and just sat there, and because I kind of had the characters, I kind of had the story, and I just couldn't quite get it to go. And I knew I wanted to be in the desert because noir is really about primitive man being faced with forces he can't really deal with. And out the desert would be a good, I almost said forest, a little slip of the bone tongue there. Out the desert would be a good place. So I just went out there and I just wrestled with the story, and finally that's where the whole Tesla's journals, lost journals, kind of came into the story, and everything just kind of fit into place really well, so that was good.
What was your first sort of image that you crafted together of RASL? Because Bone you've been drawing since you were really small, so what was the first image you had of RASL?
The first image I had was what's on the cover of the first trade paperback. It's a fairly abstract, hey, you want me to get one?
Sure.
Kathleen, will you hand me RASL #1? Thank you very much. Okay, so it's this one.
Okay.
So it's a very abstract kind of image but he's face down, obviously in some kind of pain, with kind of his hair almost looking like flashes of electricity. And that was the first image that came to me, and I was like, I want to follow that. So.
Yeah, because you really have pushed RASL to the edge and a little bit beyond.
Yeah. Well, that's the idea of hard-boiled stories and noir, is to really get a person lost, and push them just to the edge of what it takes to survive. I mean, that's what's fun about that kind of a thing.
Now, I read in the Comic-Con has put together a really nice interview with you to celebrate the 20 years of Bone, and one of the things that struck me in that interview is you said that you really feel strongly about working on your own creations, that while it was fun to do Shazam and things like that you feel so strongly about working on your own creations. Is this something that you figure that you're just going to keep doing when you're done with RASL? Do you have another creator-owned project in mind, or are you going to take a little break and do some more?
No, I have another project in mind. It's I have the character, I know his name, I kind of know the basic situation, but there's a lot I haven't quite figured out. But I still have a year like I said, for RASL, so I have time to work out the kinks.
Could be a whole different genre. I mean, Bone was sort of fantasy and adventure. This is, like you said, sort of sci-fi noir.
Yeah, I think it'll sit a little bit between the two, but maybe I want to definitely get back into humor. I missed the humor from Bone. There's a little bit of humor in RASL, but it's mostly just a wink, like his face when he sees something surprising. But yeah, humor isn't a big part of noir.
No, not so much.
Right.
Well, we're going to wrap this up the way we always do by asking you, what's your issue? What is that comic you read that's so crazy, so wild, so out there that you have to tell people about it?
All right. This is so out there and so crazy, it hasn't even come out yet. It's Craig Thompson's Habibi, which is coming out this fall, and I've actually read it, on the original art, and it is mind blowing. You've got to see it. This is my issue. It's so crazy. It's from the future. It's a good book.
Well, thank you very much for meeting with us. It's been a pleasure as always, and look forward to reading the conclusion of RASL.
All right. Thanks, Brian.